famously, I believe I paid Rockstar 100 and something euros at the time for GTA 5 Special Edition under the promise that single player content was coming down the line, and that never came. This is like
I
7
wouldn't be
years later.
surprised.
Now that we have played the thing or not played the thing, I'm not sure. We are going to ask the topic question, which, boys, is the subscription model harmful? And specifically, we are looking through the lens of the video game industry here. Just to give a bit of clarity on what that is for any listener that might be thinking, how do you mean the subscription model? Specifically, there is a kind of a traditional take on what a video game is. You know, you get Super Mario Bros. You put it into your NES and you just play the game. You know, you start at the start, you finish at the end, and you paid your $60 for the privilege to do it. That was how games were for many, many years. And then the subscription model became a thing. First of all, it was actually, I think gaming probably pioneered it, but we have seen it in music with Spotify and stuff like that. We have seen it in the movie space and TV with Netflix and all of the rest. And the reason I say gaming probably pioneered it is, I think, to my knowledge, things like World of Warcraft, EverQuest, that type of stuff, I believe these had subscription models for donkey's years now. So like it's not exactly a new thing in gaming, but it is definitely more widespread in the past like decade than it ever has been. With games that actually sound a bit odd to be taking up that model, taking it up, and somehow still wringing people of their money. But I digress. This is the topic. Is the subscription model harmful in the video game space? Now, Shane, normally I throw straight to you because I'm a bit of a prick like that. But today, instead, I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Busby. Tell me.
That was me grabbing it there because you threw it over.
And that plays so well on the audio too.
I would say that it's multifaceted. It's not a one catch-all. Subscription models are absolutely fantastic for the likes of Game Pass, as even mentioned earlier on the episode. But for specific games themselves, when it comes into like DLC and like all that kind of stuff, it's just a bit hit and miss. You know, it's again, it's also like it's not a hard yes or no, because sometimes it's quite good to have, like, if the game is going to be coming out with DLC and it's an already complete game and you've got fantastic DLC to come, then yes, I think a subscription model works quite well there. If it is a free to play game that you can play along as you go and you're having a good time doing whatever you're doing, and there's a subscription to pay for an extra bonus or something, then like you're kind of talking about, is it pay to win? Is that something that you should be ethically able to do? And yeah, there's just a lot to think about. So if we want to narrow in on any part of what I said there, let me know.
Yeah, like I think it's fair to say that this is multifaceted. It is a case of, I'm updating the volume on my speakers here, forgive me, but the core of this is that subscription has many definitions in terms of video games. You know, like the first example that came to my mind was the first time I ever heard about subscriptions in games was World of Warcraft, and people telling me that they play World of Warcraft, and I go, oh, that's that thing I've heard about on South Park or something, isn't it? And you know, or wherever I'd heard about it. And then in that conversation, learning that these people have an indefinite subscription for the privilege to be able to play it, and that blew my mind. I was just like, what do you mean? And did you have to buy the game? They're like, yeah. I was like, what the hell? so you bought the game and you're still paying for it. It's like, yeah. And this was like 15, 20 years ago. You know, this is a long time ago when I heard this, and I just could not fathom it. And now we live in a world where that's completely normal, you know. So the guys at Blizzard, you know, as monstrous as they were very much ahead of the curve when it came to this insidious practice. But that is one lens by which we could look at subscription, is, you know, the constant churning of material and gains is, you know, the carrot on the string. And as you said, Buzz, there is the alternative, which is a free-to-play game. Like, that might have a subscription model in order to literally keep the doors open, which is that we're getting you in as the free-to-play, And if 100 people play and 20 of them give us a subscription, that's worth our time, you know? And that, when done right, is completely amicable, and I'm completely open to it. In fact, that's the model that the Halo multiplayer has adopted, is, you know, the Battle Pass model. It has its problems, and I'll get to that. But that's what Fortnite does. That's what, you know, all the rest of them do. They do allow for in-game purchases, but there is a subscription plan you can kind of sign up for every month or every season or whatever. So I think that's probably the least insidious one in terms of, well, this is, you can or you cannot pay this. This is up to you. And then I believe you had another example there, which was quite a good one, but I can't remember it at this point. But the bottom line is that it was the DLC, that's what it was. If you were literally buying a video game and you're paying for the premium pass to essentially be delivered the promise of additional content maybe next year or whenever that is. Famously, I believe I paid Rockstar 100 and something euros at the time for GTA 5 Special Edition under the promise that single player content was coming down the line, and that never came. This is like 7 years later.
I wouldn't be surprised if it still is coming, to be honest with you. Like at this point, when are we actually going to get a GTA 6?
No, they were like, "Oh, this online thing's really working. To hell with that," you know. But
I wonder if they had DLC half developed that they were like, yeah, this is coming out. Oh, let's just support online. We're making way more money off this.
Exactly. This is why you should never ever put money towards something that you can't tangibly interact with yet, because things change. You know, like that business model completely changed in the space of a year, because let's follow this white whale rather than, you know, squander those resources on single player DLC. But yeah, I think it's, as you said, Buzz, it is multifaceted, and I guess I'll try and bring it back around into more of a focused view in a moment. But Shane, what about you? When I say subscription models, are they harmful? What comes to mind?
So when I was thinking about this question, the first thing that came to mind for me was kind of looking into the future of where we currently stand with subscription models.
Right.
So right now, the big name on everyone's lips that everyone talks about is Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful service, a subscription-based service. Great, wonderful, excellent. That's all amazing and wonderful and lovely.
Is it wonderful though?
I don't know. Maybe it might be.
It is.
We're not quite sure yet. And then what I got thinking about was, where do we stand in, like, you know, let me paint a picture for you. It's, I don't know, what are we now? 2022 nearly. It's 2028. You're sitting at home and you check your bank account, and at the end of the month, hitting all at once is your Game Pass subscription, your PlayStation subscription, your Ubisoft subscription, your Rockstar subscription, your whatever. Like, if there's money to be made, all these companies are going to branch out into their own subscription services. And if we go to an all digital future, games are going to start getting, they're going to be gatekeeping of games by, oh, you're not paying your monthly subscription, well, you don't get to play that game then.
It's a possibility. Like, we do live in that time, and I, by far, I'm sure, not only on this podcast and all the guests that come on it, but I'm sure even on any other podcast I've been on, I probably am up there in terms of has the most subscriptions, because I try everything and I forget to cancel everything.
Yeah.
So every month I look at my bank account and I'm like, I swear there was €250 more in there yesterday. But yeah, like, we do live in that time where Ubisoft and Rockstar and everybody else is trying to emulate what they're seeing with Game Pass, with whatever.
Yeah.
However, I will say Game Pass is kind of coming out on top, much like Netflix did back in the day, where yes, we are seeing other like HBO Max, and yes, we are seeing Prime Video, but like really it's the big three. Like, it's Prime Video, it's Disney, and it's Netflix. Like, the other ones are superfluous. People download stuff off the other ones. If you know something is on HBO Max but you don't have it, you will pirate it. But if you know something's on Netflix and you don't have it, you'll subscribe to Netflix. Like, that's the sign of a strong competitor, you know? And I think Game Pass falls into that as well. So, like, if they keep moving in that realm of, let's just get everyone in here. Like, let's just do what we can to get a Ubisoft game in here and just, like, show that this is where you want to be, lads. Yes, you're not getting the same amount of money, but you're getting a lot more people paying the smaller amount of money, therefore making more money. You know, it's simple maths, Ubisoft. You know, but like, I think we are definitely going to be moving into a future where the Netflix of games is always been battered around, but is becoming a reality. You know, like Game Pass is the thing. And I guess, Shane, what you were saying there, could you ever be gatekept by not having the correct subscription? That's a worry. Like, that is a worry. I went to try and watch, it's the 1st of December yesterday as of recording this. And as tradition, I went to watch Die Hard with my partner yesterday. Went on to Disney, because I seen that Disney has them, as Die Hard 1, 2, with a Vengeance, and 4, and the whole shebang. And I went, lovely. Made dinner, had it highlighted on the Disney thing on the TV, sat down, pressed play, and it said, coming to Disney in 3 days' time because of an agreement on another platform. And I went, God damn it. I was allowed to play the DVD extras, but not the movie. It was so bizarre. But like, we have all of the subscriptions and we could not find it. It must be on HBO or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
you see, that's the thing as well, and that's the thing I worry about. Of like, I don't want to sound like that old curmudgeon, because I'm not. I don't really buy a whole lot of physical games anymore, but I do buy them digitally through services. But that exact thing that happened to you, you're sitting at home one day and you go, God, I really want to play whatever. And out of the 6 subscriptions for gaming you're subscribed to, it's on the 7th one.
Yeah. And that could happen. You could have like Game Pass exclusives, or you could have, you know, PS Plus exclusives and that type of thing, where I think there will always be a market for digital downloads. You know, like, I think because we are in a... See, the difference with Netflix is Netflix never allowed you download stuff, and no other model ever needed to have that infrastructure to allow you to download the thing. You know, whereas gaming came up the other direction. It was like, we want you to download the things, and that became only popular in the last 5 years. And then they moved into the subscription model, which now allows you to kind of like, you know, semi download them or whatever. So I think that infrastructure will always be true, unless we kind of move into a world where, okay, we have an Android box for all the world, and we're now streaming everything. Streaming will be what kills the digital download. But until we can efficiently stream Halo multiplayer, like, there will always be a marketplace for people wanting to download that to their hard drive, you know. But it's true. We could get to that point. 100%.
That's the thing. That's the bit that worries me, is when we get to that point, and then that's when the gatekeeping really begins.
Yeah. For sure. So I guess let's just kind of bring this back around, so to a kind of a more salient point. Subscriptions take many shapes. Okay, whether that is the access of content as a whole, such as Game Pass, such as, you know, the Ubisoft subscriptions and what have you, whether that is through the access of DLC, whether that is through the access of other bits and bobs, or whether that is simply keeping the doors open, such as Fortnite or whatever. Is the subscription model harmful is, of course, a broad question, but I think it can be looked at in that way. If we look at all of the different aspects of it, do we think it's helpful? Like, do we think that it's worthwhile having it? Like, if we weigh the good against the bad here, do we feel like the good outweighs the bad? Does the bad outweigh the good? Like, I'll get us started in saying, I think for all the crap it gets, I think Fortnite does a fantastic job with the subscription model. Like, anyone that's unfamiliar, like, you can jump in and play Fortnite for free right now, and you will not have any more or any less of an advantage. To my understanding, I don't think things have changed that much in the last year. But,
no, I don't think so.
Like, you can jump in, and your buddy can jump in, and you can be playing for like 3 years, and he'll jump in tomorrow, and yes, you'll be better at the game, but you won't have a better gun necessarily. You won't have a better, you know, you won't be faster than him. You know, it is all cosmetic, which is one, you know, feather in the cap. But their battle pass system that they kind of pioneered is fantastic, and nobody does it as good as they do, because yes, you're paying $10 every 2 or 3 months, whatever it is. That gives you a load of objectives, which gets you playing the game in ways that you never thought before. And it's actually making you a better player by the end of it, and actually getting you to experience all the content that it might be on a map that you would never see. But by doing so, you unlock your skins, you unlock your cosmetics, but also you unlock enough in-game currency to buy the next battle pass gratis. So, like, you could, in theory, spend $10 on Fortnite, play it endlessly, which I realize that's the insidious nature here, is that they just want you to endlessly be playing it. But in theory, you could spend $10 on Fortnite and unlock everything indefinitely, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, that is pretty cool. And when it comes to stuff like that, I agree with the subscription model. I think it works. Like, even in the case of, you mentioned Warcraft earlier on, that was like doing subscriptions 20 years ago. Part of that was probably to just like keep servers running and just keep the game afloat and keep it so people could actually play it with, like, it's one of the original multiplayer games is WoW, like, and that money was probably what was keeping it being a multiplayer game. So in that case, great, perfect, wonderful. It's like you said, there is an insidious nature to some subscriptions, and some of them are just like, you're just hot trash. Or just give us money to play our game for no reason at all. Like a game that you could probably buy for 70 quid and play without a subscription.
So my question is then, does that if we look at that as a subscription model as a whole, does the Fortnite model do enough to save the entire argument here? Or like, do these new types of subscriptions that are coming out, I see Buzz is nodding his head here, I might be getting some kind of an agreement here, but do we think that there's enough people doing it right to outweigh the people who are doing it wrong? I think is the question.
I'd agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
You would agree that it is doing enough to justify it, or it's not doing enough to justify it?
That it's doing enough to justify it. And it's going to be a big debate maybe in the next one, but I really do think that...
I'd agree as well. I think the introduction of free to play in recent years has really helped a lot of subscription models.
Oh yeah, big time. Big time.
Because like, can you imagine nowadays if, like, let's say take Fortnite for example, if it was a like WoW and you had to go to your like mom or dad or whatever when you're like little Timmy 10-year-old and go, I need like 25 quid a month to play Fortnite, and they're like, what? Well, I'm not giving you my credit card details to take a monthly fee for a stupid little shooting game that we're like, I'm just spitballing as a parent here. I'm not actually a parent, but this is my parent voice coming through. Those stupid little cartoon men shooting each other on screen. I'm not paying 25 quid a month for that. It would never work. It would never work, and Fortnite would be dead.
Sure.
I'll give you a good one though. That probably still does happen for V-Bucks, like probably every month.
It does. It does, but it's because it's not like a banking monthly thing, and it's like a here and there. The parents think they're not spending as much money, but they're probably spending more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, Buzz.
As a kid, like getting Xbox Live for the first time, like that was it. That was like, can I get this thing to play with my friends online with for each month? So I would say that the kind of hidden subscriptions as well, like that still is PS Plus is a subscription as well. We have to talk about that. I think PS Plus is very, very good.
That's very
Xbox Live, whenever it came out, it wasn't really that. It was just literally just to be secure and stuff, which was quite good at the time, considering PlayStation went down like every fortnight or something.
Yeah.
That's
true.
With PS Plus, like you obviously get like all the benefits of being able to like go on to the multiplayer games, all that kind of crack. But you do also get those free games every month, and especially with the PlayStation 5 now, you get like 3 free games a month. I haven't really played many of them, but it's an extra benefit. And then whenever like maybe one of the games go viral in the next 2 months or 2 years, whatever, and then you're like, oh yeah, I got that for free like X amount of days ago, and it's still tied to my account, and I can jump back on there and give it a play. Then there's also like the discounts that you get with it, and it kind of is value for money.
It is, but like it's just enough value to make you feel like it's giving you value, but you're probably not even using that value. Do you get what I mean? Like,
I'd say that's the same with most things though in business.
No, I
mean,
understand.
like...
I understand. But like, when you think about it, you hit the nail on the head, and you're like, I get games that are tied to my subscription. I have to point out, like, you are paying for them every month, not even the month that you're getting it. You're paying for it indefinitely, because they cut it off the second that you stop paying. You can't play Fall Guys anymore. My partner is distraught because I dropped my PS Plus membership, and now Fall Guys is just sitting there with a lock on it. But like, they give you these games, and they cut deals in order to give you these games. And I think, I am, by the way, in the positive here. I'm just trying to point out that, like, you are getting those games, and you are getting the eligibility for discounts. But how often do you use them is the big question. So, like, this kind of, like, false value of, like, I get this too, I get this from all my subscriptions, is like, oh, well, I'm the reason I'm justifying that in my head now is because, like, oh, well, like, Plague Tale is going to be on that now next month, and I kind of want to maybe play that, so I guess I'll keep paying it, and then I don't play it, and then it's just like moves on. And like, yes, I could get 7% extra off of Far Cry 6, but did I end up buying it? No, and I bought it in CX for 20 quid a year later. Like, I didn't reap any of the benefits, if you get me. But I think you are right in the sense that I never even thought of the subscription model for the consoles, because I think PS Plus was probably my first gaming subscription model I ever signed up for, you know, and it was that promise of the free games, because this was back on the PS3 when online was free, you know, like you didn't even need it to play online. But the promise of having these monthly games every month, I told people they were idiots for not getting it, you know, and that's a very strong, you know, take to be able to like go, not only am I paying a corporation money every month, I'm telling people they're stupid for not doing it, you know. But in that sense, I will stick up for Microsoft. They've turned that model around. That is by far the best subscription model, not Game Pass, but their actual Xbox Live Gamers with Gold, whatever they call it nowadays. Because not only do you get like 2 or 3 Xbox One, Series X, whatever games, you also get 2 or 3 backwards compatible games, and those are free for life. Like once you've signed up, like you just own those bad boys. So that's very handy for someone like me that loves going back into old games. And then you get everything else on top of that. But yeah, you're right, Buzz. You know, console subscriptions. And here's the thing, okay? So let me put this seed in your heads, and I'll go back to you.
Waiting for it.
The ability for consoles to have subscriptions is a tried and true thing at this point. Xbox and PlayStation pioneered it, and therefore it became the norm. Okay? Once subscriptions become the norm, and not just the console subscriptions, but the gaming subscriptions as a whole, the Fortnite model and all the rest, once that becomes the norm, and once the kind of, I guess, the bad feelings around it, I know that there's a word I'm searching for here that I'm not getting, but like once the stigma has been taken off of the idea of subscriptions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Once the stigma has been taken off, everyone then jumps on board, and they feel they can get away with murder. So, for example, look at Nintendo. Nintendo launched the Switch a couple of years back. Only last year or the year before did they launch their own console subscription, and they made it dirt cheap. It's like 20 quid for a year. And then said, here's some NES games, here's some SNES games. And they weren't great, but it was cheap and it was fine. And then it's like, here's some really badly emulated Nintendo 64 games. And by the way, we're going to quadruple the price. You know, and it's like, oh, the hubris got to you, my friend. You know, and it's the same with EA. It's the same with Ubisoft. It's the same with all the rest of them. They see Fortnite doing it, and the stigma has been taken off, and people are used to this. Why the hell are we letting people pay us once for our games? Let's get out there and let's, you know, really wring them dry. And that's my question to you guys is the subscription model only as strong as the people who pioneer it? Because it seems as if somebody gets it right only for somebody to try their living best to monopolize it and just get it wrong.
Tis the nature of business, I would say, in market economies. But I mean, yes and no. I'd say for a lot of the stuff, especially with the Nintendo and stuff, they're just trying to test their arm and see what people will actually latch onto. Because if they're making money out of people are willing to pay, they're going to go ahead with it and push the boundaries even further. But the best thing that any consumer can do is vote with their wallet. If you don't like what is happening or the practices by someone, just put it back. Don't pay them and say no. And then they'll change it. And it'll be this constant cycle of, like, you know, you might have to resubscribe, unsubscribe, all that kind of crack. But yes, that'd be my kind of thinking of it, which might be a bit like a Milton Friedman argument or something. But yeah,
I think
market
it's
corrects
a salient
itself.
point though, is that like if you don't agree with any of this, vote with your wallet. Like, just don't buy in. Like, I think Nintendo is going to have a huge turnaround on like that, you know, Nintendo 64 launch that I was just talking about a second ago. Like, I'm sure their projections for what they were hoping to make out of their subscription model over Christmas is not going to be anywhere near what they had projected it to be. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to, people are dropping off a cliff with that subscription at the moment because they just showed their hand that it's greed. It's not There's no benefit behind this. They're gatekeeping content that they've sold to you 7 times before, and now they're going to put it behind a paywall, and now they're going to just put a little multiplier next to the subscription price every year. Not like add €5, multiply by 5.
Yeah.
But that's the way it is.
Flipping the argument on its head, rather than gatekeeping games, what do you think about a subscription model to a game that updates constantly? Because at this stage I must have bought Skyrim about 6 or 7 times on different consoles and stuff, right? Or I gifted to me and stuff. I would much prefer, for the amount that I play that game, to pay them like a $10 a year or something, and just be like, yeah, just give me all the consoles. Just go ahead there.
Skyrim's interesting because they have kind of moved into the you don't need to pay us any more money model, which kind of goes against everything else they do, but which is surprising because like if you bought that game on PC, you have never had to pay another buck to come up into the new upgrade. Special edition was free for you. It was just an upgrade. And so has Anniversary Edition. Consoles didn't have that because we moved generation. We went from the 360 to the Xbox One or whatever. So yeah, you did have to pay for SE, unfortunately. But like myself, playing Anniversary, I just had that. It just upgraded to that, because I had the console that could play it. And that's all gravy, I guess. But I get your point, is that like we're going to be playing a game like San Andreas, even, for example, like why couldn't that have been pay us an extra 10, and if you own the old San Andreas on PS4, now you get ray tracing and stuff, which is pretty much all they did to it. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's funny. I nearly would rather pay money every couple of years for something though, and know what I'm getting and just get it at the time, than have to potentially pay €15 a month for the promise of something down the line. Is kind of where I always fall though. But I do enjoy Halo's Battle Pass at the moment. I will say that it's getting me in there, and it's not perfect because the way they did it is strange. It's very specific challenges, and you can't pick specific game modes. So if you get like a challenge for your Battle Pass, it's like take down 3 helicopters. And it just keeps giving you close quarter multiplayer matches with no helicopters. Like you're just going to leave the match immediately, and that's happening all over the place, and it's really not conducive to play. So they need to figure this out. But the actual thing for me right now is I'm paying €10 right now for Halo, plus Game Pass, I guess, when the campaign comes around. But like, I'm paying €10, and I'm going to get 6 months of content out of that because the next Battle Pass doesn't start until May. So that's like great. That's not bad going, and there's good to be found there, Sorry, I think I've brought us off track there. My bad. Long story short, lads, we're kind of getting to the end of it here. I'm going to go around the room. Shane, subscription models, are they harmful? Yes or no, in as succinct a point as you can, please.
Right now, no. I think the big greedy corporation business future, they're going to be.
Mm-hmm. Do we think that, like, enough of them are doing it wrong right now that people will gravitate towards the people that are doing it right, and it will kind of force the hand of the greedy corporate overlords to kind of better practice?
I'm hoping the kind of voting with your wallet thing kicks in, where like you said with Nintendo, people go, oh, this subscription is hot ass, why am I paying for this, and stop paying for it. And eventually, after some number of years or whatever, Nintendo goes, right, we got that wrong. We need to come back with a bang and change up what we're doing to get our people back in and get that monthly money. Like, the whole world is going to a subscription model. Everything now, you can get a subscription for lunch to come to your house and stuff. Like, I just hate having all these extra monthly bills for everything. If I want to spend my 60, 70 quid on a game and just that's all I spend for like 6 or 8 or 10 months and play that one game, then fine. I don't know, I hate monthly bills, man. I just hate having extra bills, an extra thing every month to come on my bank account.
I don't know. I think I kind of like the idea. I think I kind of like if I could get everything in my life on a subscription. Like everything. Like my weekly pints with the lads, or like, like my lunches, my dinners, my games, my shopping. Like somebody else is taking care of all of it, which is enough for me, Yeah. And then I can just say, right, in order for my entire life to just come to my door, I have to pay €100 a week or whatever it is. Cool. Like, here we go. Just take that money, my friend. But yeah, I get you. Sorry, that's just my dystopian future tangent, and I'm kind of into. Buzz, quick camera change. How the hell are you? And tell me, the subscription model, is it harmful in as succinct a point as you possibly can, sir?
I think it's not harmful as of yet. Could be in the future. And to kind of double back on that point as well, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 5 to 10 years we see some sort of a new business startup, kind of like how LastPass works, where like it's like distributed, maybe it's on blockchain technology as well, right? A third Web 3.0, and it's just like, this is everyone's subscription, and it's a sharing subscription thing. So it's like, you now, without the companies even be able to get any money off it, my mom uses my Netflix. Probably shouldn't say that. I use my sister's Disney Plus.
They're bursting down her doors as we speak, but what did you do?
Disney is definitely, no, but wouldn't be surprised like if that does happen and it's built on blockchain or something like that, and everybody's able to share stuff, and it just brings down the cost of everything. You know, you kind of like get kickback or something for like X amount of people sharing your Netflix or whatever it is.
Sure.
Going to make that business actually, yeah.
Yeah. Just tip off and make that business there. Like
I'll cut that bit out so no one steals your idea.
At one point,
no, keep it in because I'll find an investor.
At one point there, you were like, oh yeah, like it could be, you know, the kind of free share of the subscription to each other, and we can all just share it up to each other. I was like, you're kind of just describing what the internet used to be, and that's
like, Web 3.0.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Web 3.0.
Exactly, and this is kind of like NFTs and Bitcoin and, you know, the blockchain and all that has made it so that the internet is no longer a free service. That we're kind of going around where we're like fantasizing about the ability to be able to share stuff. But that's just another side point. But I get you. I think you're right, and I do think actually, as much as I hate it, the NFT and blockchain developments, let's put it, over the past couple of months and years has very much changed the game in terms of like online sharing, and that's what worries me, is like if we're going into subscription models, tack on the idea of an NFT on top of that, and then say, well, how about you have a subscription model, but in order to watch Die Hard on Disney, not only do you have to be subscribed to Disney, but you also have to kick back like $250 to Ciaran Busby, who happens to own the NFT for Die Hard. So like every time I'm watching something, I'm also paying extra on my subscription because somebody actually owns the NFT of that thing on the subscription. You know, we're getting onto a snowball situation here, folks. But I think you're right. And I'll just wrap it up here as well with what I think, which is, and who cares really, but what I think is, yeah, like it's the exact same as what you guys are saying. If done right, this thing has its place, and I think it is quite valuable. Like the Fortnite model, like everyone's just jealous they didn't do it first. You know, it's super well done for all of the shady business practices and whatever else that company goes through. Like just looking at that practice through an isolated lens, it is really smart and it's really well done, and it benefits the player. Good stuff. It's specifically when people mess it up and get greedy, and I think it is the one thing in gaming where people have actually looked at the bad subscription models and said, no, thank you, sir. You know, and they've actually voted with their wallets and have stepped away. You know, whereas like, you know, buying players and coins in FIFA, people just can't seem to spend enough money. But when it comes to a bad subscription, people are willing to walk away. So I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful things are going to get better before they get worse. But that's kind of it. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, lads, we think the subscription model as an idea isn't harmful. It's in the implementation.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yes, I'd also agree with that.
You heard it here first.